Okay, thank you again for joining with Sacred Para. We are having a little bit of technical difficulties as far as getting the invite to go through. So my apologies. Just continue to bear with us. Thank you again for joining. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. Last week we had difficulties as far as just there's so much internet traffic going on that we had to bounce off and on, but there were so many great nuggets that was shared during that time. So I'm really glad that we persevered and stayed in there. Okay, Panic Pixie, I did send another invite, and I'm hoping that it went through. So we're going to see. I hope that you guys have really been enjoying this series. Like I said before, it really just started off as the one, Instagram live that that I did with my little Kirby world. And then from there, received several different messages about storyline development and how to do character development. And that's really what created this current series that you have right now. Oh goodness, it says that she's unable to join. We're trying to get it to join. The latest version of Instagram. Okay, bear with me again. My apologies. You have been enjoying it? Oh, good. And I enjoyed your Instagram that you guys just did where you talked about your... I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys are able to, get all of this going and how that develops for you guys. Oh, no. Hold on real quick. Hold on very quickly. We are communicating right now in regards of what is going on. So sometimes these things do happen with Instagram. Like I said, last week we had to fight through some things as well. So hopefully, hello, Mother. Hopefully we're able to get Panic Pixie on here, Panic Pixie Dolls, because I have really enjoyed reading her page and just watching how she has her story develop, as well as her characters. So right now we're just trying to get the latest Instagram, the latest version of Instagram to download so that we are able to continue with our live. So while we are communicating, I thank you guys for bearing with me. As you can tell, my Bambino is getting bigger. Even while I'm sitting down, you can see that he is developing quite well in there. He's a heavy load, but we are very excited for his upcoming debut because we don't have very much longer before he'll be showing his face. And he's already quite active. So we're expecting some entertaining nights with him. So let's see if we can get this going again. She just wrote me. Okay, so she is now updated. We're going to try this again. I'm going to send her an invite so that we can continue on with our live. And hopefully this one goes through. All right. Hello!
Hi!
How are you? Yes! We got it through. I was letting them know that we were communicating back and forth.
I like how it told you what I needed to do.
I know, right? That's no problem. How's your Saturday going?
Oh, great. You?
Going good. I'm glad that it's Saturday. I'm actually glad that it's Saturday so that, it could kind of help balance out my week some. because everything's been kind of busy with doctor's appointments and stuff. So I'm glad.
It's a relief.
Yes, it is. Now, is this your first time doing a live?
It is, definitely.
Yay! I feel so good. You allowed me to do the live with you. Oh, goodness. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. So I've been admiring your page for quite some time. High Life in Dalton. And number one, I enjoy Jolene, but I love the interaction between her and Mary. So I do want to bring that up before I before I say anything else. I love the interaction that the two of them have. As we stated before, that this series, oh goodness, is dedicated to letting anyone know that they can write. So one of the things that I would like to ask you is, what is your background with writing and, with storyline development?
Okay, so my background, I started writing when I was 5. I wrote a play that was half a page long, and I made my brother star in it, and my mom was our audience, and it was very well received by my mom audience. But I went on to taking screenwriting classes in college, and I studied theater, and then I studied English, and I ended up getting a degree in English, and just been writing this entire time. I went from playing dolls as a kid and telling stories through that medium to writing it all out.
Okay, wow, I do like that. And I actually can kind of concur with you as far as playwriting, because that's in my background as well.
Nice.
I started writing when I was young, and my mom was always my audience. She's on here right now. So she was always my main audience. And then I ended up when I was in college, I took theater classes, and I was part of an acting troupe, well, 2 different acting troupes. And then from there, went on to do my MFA for writing. So,
Oh, nice.
Yes. But then I got married in between that and had kids, so I ended up having to take a pause, and I'm still on pause. So life happens. But yeah, I love that. And I see in your work with your page, your theater, and we'll get into that. I'm excited, so I want to bring that up. But I see that living in your in your Instagram page. So because you do have a theater background, how does that fit into your page?
Oh, okay. So sometimes I make sets more like a theater kind of set would be. But yeah.
Well, I asked that because in recent time, I think like within the last month or maybe last month even, between either beginning of April or March, you had a post about the fourth wall.
Yes.
And I loved it. I showed my husband about it because I was like, wow, I really do like how you tied that in. This isn't the first time you tied it in. I'm just using a recent one. And then you showed your process as far as how you created this fourth wall.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, how does your theater background fit into how you do your storyline and how you do your dioramas?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because I made a door on the fourth wall instead of on the side walls or the back wall, and I feel like we as a Dollstagram community don't really utilize the space in between what we're taking a picture of and our cameras. And I we do in the theater world, we do a lot. So I wanted to bring that aspect in.
And I really do like that. Because the way that you were able to do that, I mean, I appreciate, of course, because of my own theater background, but then also just from the point being of being able to take your pictures. I like it because you see Mary going in the door, but then because of the way that you did the door, this fourth wall, you're able to have a different angle of seeing her go through the door. And you don't have to worry about removing any walls or anything of that nature because of the way that you use that space. Yeah. And then you can take away that door and have the full variety, the full openness of that space. So I do like how you were able to use your own personal background and play that into your doll page. So for viewers who haven't checked it out, look it up because she does talk about it. It's on Panic Pixie Dolls page because you have 2 pages.
I do. I stopped using Panic Pixie Tales, but it's still there
Okay.
if you want to check that out.
Okay. And that one was just being used to have the uninterrupted stories.
Yeah.
Okay. But so there are the 2 pages, but as you said, that one, the Panic Pixie Tells, you're not using as much, but that one had the uninterrupted.
Yeah.
So there wouldn't be any, crafts or anything of that nature shown on there. So do check out the Panic Pixie Dolls so that you can see what we're talking about with this 4th wall, because it's something very interesting. And like I said, you have other aspects where you've put theater into your work as well. So I do enjoy that. Now, what made you go with the storyline content direction versus, doing fashion? Because you have fashion on there, and
Yeah.
you're quite savvy with being able to sew, because I've seen the outfits that you make. So what made you go the storyline content direction?
This I went the storyline content because it's my strength, and they say to play to your strengths. And um, I started Instagram just as a place to kind of unload everything I was doing. I wasn't really worried about making a brand or being like fancy photos, which I do like. I did a little bit of photography in college, and I
Okay.
was just kind of unloading and being like, blah, this is stuff. And and then I started doing these little stories, um, and I was having fun with it. So I kept it up.
Okay, I like that. And that's one of the things that we have talked about. It's just being able to have fun with what you do, because that's the whole point. There's enough stress going on already inside the house and outside the house and in the world. And so being able to have that as your stress reliever and being able to have fun with it is like the most important thing. And so I completely agree with you on that. And
Exactly.
so how did you get involved with the doll community though?
Um, uh, I found it, saw it was there, and um, I, you know, I'm an introvert, so I don't really go out there. But people, every once in a while, someone will come and find me and take me with them. And and so that happened a little bit, and I joined some some small groups of people doing things, and you just get kind of swept up in the current.
Okay. Well, we're glad that you did, because your page is really fun and it's enjoyable. One of the things that I enjoy the most is how you're able to interblend comedy and a sense of humor in
Thank
your
you.
page. So I really do. I love the sprinkle of comedy that you have in there amidst everything else. Now, your mom, does she also sew?
Yes, a lot better than I do. Like,
Mine too.
yeah. She taught me to
Cheers.
sew, and she tried to get me to, keep it going and sew certain things. I'm like, okay.
My mom, she's a seamstress, and she sews, not as much now, but she used to have fashion shows and stuff, and she used to always try to get me to learn how to sew a long time ago. And I'm also an introvert, and I also don't like a whole lot of drama. And so when she would have these customers, and they would be, just very just you have different personalities of customers. I'll put it like that. So I was like, I don't want to deal with those people. I'm not going to do sewing. So I learned enough. I learned enough to do like the alterations, do this and that. But now I do some sewing with my dolls and sometimes with my kids. But yes, yeah, that's definitely her area, and I'm still growing in it. So I do understand. But in the same hand, I've seen the dresses that you've made, and I'm like, wow, those look really, really good, like
Thank
very
you.
good. I thought that you had got them on Etsy, and when I read your caption, I was like, oh, okay, that looks really good. And then you
Wow.
showed all the different varieties of what you did with the My Froggy pattern, and I was like, wow. So Definitely don't underestimate yourself because it looks good.
Thank you. It helps when you've made the same dress 5 times.
Still, it looks good. Now,
Thank you.
my other question is about Mary.
Okay.
Do you have a sister named Mary? I mean,
I
named
do
Mary?
not. She
What?
she's actually based off this. I named her. I didn't get the character, but I named her after a girl I knew in high school who I didn't like.
Oh, wow.
But the character has changed a lot. She was kind of a friend of me, but the character changed a lot since high school, and she got pretty goth along and kind of punk rock along the way. With like the Mary I knew in real life is not anything like that character, but
Wow. Now the Mary you knew in real life, is she more like Karen?
um, no, she's really bubbly and friendly,
Okay.
actually.
Okay. Well, I love the way that you have developed Mary.
Thank you.
I think about Mary like when I think was it a Chris I think it was Christmas and she invited over the ex-boyfriend and just like Mary just has I can tell that they're really good friends, but then there's like certain things that Mary does that makes you go, well, do they like each other? And but I have girls myself out of our whole bunch that we have, and sometimes you wonder that with your own kids, like, do you guys like each other? One minute they're best friends, next minute they're not. So I
Yes.
do like the dynamic of how you created their character. Um, where did you get that from as far as how their relationship is?
Um, oh geez, I'm not even sure. I have two sisters, but we generally like each other. And then I also have three brothers, but uh, we don't hate each other. We don't we don't play little tricks on each other, like inviting each other's boyfriends over. And
I like it. I like it a whole lot. But I like too how one of the things that we look at is how to develop our characters separately so that they have their own independent personality. And that's one of the things that I truly do appreciate how you developed all of your characters, but in particular, because we see more of Jolene and Mary, how you were able to give them both distinguishing characteristics. So with her, you have the more dark and gothic side, and she has a snake around her neck, and she's wearing the boots, and you really did a great job on her character and just her overall look with the ear, the eyebrow piercing and everything. And then on the other hand, you have Jolene, who's pretty much opposite of her. And so I like how you were able to do that, and yet there's still a mutual respect, but yet you also know that they're different. So how were you able to do that? How were you able to
I
create such a distinguishing character, especially whenever you say that you based it off of a girl who isn't even like her?
she's more like me. I think that both Jolene and Mary are opposite sides of the me coin, where they're both. I think that every character you write is a part of you in a way, and a little bit of wish fulfillment, I would say, in the fact that I'm nice, but sometimes it's fun to play the evil character, and it's kind of uh, I'm blanking on the word, but it's kind of a relief in a way to just let some evil out.
I do. I do. And someone said, absolutely. I fully understand what you mean. Like, having someone who can say the things that you would like to say, but you
Yeah.
don't. It was like catharsis. It's very therapeutic. I can't say those things, but if given in a certain scenario for my doll, then they can say what I'm really feeling without
Yeah.
any kind of repercussions. So,
Yes. And
yeah.
I don't like drama in my real life. Keep the drama for the dolls. Let's get that as dramatic as we can, and then have a really
Yeah.
peaceful home life.
There you go. I fully agree with you. I fully agree with you. Now, with your dialogue, do you script ahead, or do you just type it as you're posting?
Um, I I'm big on scripts, but I usually don't. I usually come up with it as I'm arranging the scene.
Okay, I like that. I do. I like that. One of the things when you talk about arranging the scenes, I'm thinking of the conversation that Jolene had with Matt, and that was a recent conversation. I loved how I can't think of how you phrased it, but it was so unique in how you had said about how letting someone down and hurting their feelings. And then Jolene says, and in that I'm talking about you. I liked how you did that.
Thank you.
And I don't know if that was just like in that moment where you wrote it, but I really did like the feel of it. It felt very natural, and it kept you, flipping through in order to see what was going to be said.
Oh, good.
So
Thank
I
you.
do. I enjoy it. When do you photograph? Do you usually have like a set day?
I don't even I don't have a set. I I need one because it's kind of I don't get to do it as often as I want to because I have a story I'm sitting on, but it's been like 3 days.
Yes.
Um, I I have kids who want to be around me all the time, and it's great, but I usually wait until they're asleep before I can really dive into the doll world.
I understand that completely. I do. I do. Like, even after we get done, I'm like, there's three events that went on. One of them you were able to attend. I think it was like the glam one. And
Oh
the
yeah.
Adrian,
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to do it and I wanted to. That's why she's dressed up today because I was like, I'm going to do it after the live. I'm going to photograph before I have to go downstairs with the kids because they're downstairs with daddy right now. But I fully understand, life takes over and you're just like, okay, I want to get this done. And it's not a have to, it's just because it's fun and it's relaxing. And so you
Yeah.
want to be able to jump in there and do it. So, but in the same hand, you do it when you're able to. So I do, I understand that. And my kiddos like to be under me as well. But then, you look at it and you're like, eventually they're going to get older and they're probably going to be pushing themselves away from me instead.
Yeah.
So let me just try to suck it all up right now. The best way I can
Exactly.
without going crazy.
Exactly. Enjoy it while I can because it's not going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I did notice with Jolene. Jolene has the side eye glance.
Yes.
And I have not I want to make sure I'm being honest about this. I have not photographed any dolls that have the side eye. Is that hard or is it easier than what it seems like?
It's very hard. It's very hard because sometimes she's, giving you the side eye and you're like, just look at what I want you to look at. And you have to move her head. And sometimes she's giving this expression like she's being secretive, but you're like, you're not being secretive right now. Knock it off.
And then that's what I was going to ask you next, as far as like, is that a hint about her own personality, or is it just,
Ah, I over the years I've always wanted to tell this story that Jolene's story I've had with me for years, and I've always wanted to tell it with dolls. And so the Jolene doll has changed a few times.
okay,
She was played by Jewel Girl Teresa for a while.
okay.
Yeah, but once I found that Kayla, I was like, oh my gosh, this is Jolene. And I feel like dolls are my muses, and so like if I get a doll, I can be like, this is this character, this is Karen, this is who she is, and it helps me develop that character. And I think definitely what they look like in the side eye definitely has affected me in ways that I probably don't even realize. But I don't think it could not affect me. I think it would have to play some role.
Yes, yeah, and then that's what I was wondering. I was like, does that in fact say something about her personality and who she is? Because I know sometimes she can be a little bit sarcastic, and so and so sometimes when we as humans are being sarcastic, we kind of get like this little side eye approach, a little snicker. So that's the way I had kind of taken who she is, but then
Yeah.
from a photography standpoint, I was like, how do you do that? Because That's one of my, I've seen a few really cute dolls that I wanted to get, and they had the side eye, and I was like, how would I manage that? And so I didn't know like what that process is like.
It's kind of a fun challenge, but it is a challenge.
I can see, I can really see, because I haven't done it yet, but that is something that I do want to do eventually, because it is a challenge, and I think that, you know, as much as we're doing this for our own catharsis and being able to, you know, showcase a storyline and develop characters, we're also challenging ourselves photography wise. So
Yeah.
that's something that I'm like, I'm one day, not quite yet, but one day I do want to challenge myself as far as with the side eyes. But you do a really good job with it. You
Thank
really
you.
do. You truly do. Now, when it comes to storyline, do you have any pros or cons that you would share with our viewers as far as writing storylines?
Yes, I would say don't worry about what other people are doing, which is, it's weird to give that advice because it's like I'm telling you to worry about what I'm doing, but don't worry about what anyone is doing. Um, if you want to tell the story in a certain way that no one else is doing, do it. If you like your stories, then other people will like your stories.
I agree. I agree. That is so very key. If you like your stories, other people will like it. And I think a lot of times as writers, you know, regardless if it's on Instagram or not, but as writers, we get very concerned on what other people are going to say and think, and then we may not write it on there, or we'll try to look and see how other people are doing there so we can kind of fit in line. So I
Yes,
do like what you're saying. If you like your storyline, other people will like it as well.
yes.
And that is very, very important.
I used to not share at all, and then my husband got me to share more, and I started submitting plays. And
Yes,
right? It was funny because I was in the audience while my play was being performed, and it's a type of play that I know a lot of people are going to hate because of the subject matter. It was about witches, and they were doing horrible things. And I remember when it was over, I turned to the girl behind me, and she did not like it.
really.
Yeah, and I thought it was so funny because I was like, you can tell me, like, I understand that it's not everyone's going to like it. Like, I don't know if I would like it, honestly, because of how dark it was. But you know, I think it's different when someone doesn't like your story and and someone doesn't like your writing.
I agree. I agree. I agree. And I'm actually in a similar boat with you as far as I didn't used to submit my, I submitted my work to get into the MFA program,
Right.
because you have to, you know, submit it in order for them to review it and decide on if you're going to, you know, if they're going to have you enter or not. So I did submit it there, but I never did submit it for any contest or anything, because, you know, you're the insecurity of it. What happens if
Yes.
they don't like it? So I did actually get chosen for one. And I also was in your same boat as far as watching the play be acted out. And I enjoyed watching it. And but it was actually like the push of my husband was like, no, go ahead and submit it. But I didn't want to, because I was really nervous about what the response would be. No one wants to get a no or a rejection.
No,
After a while,
no.
though, you have to get used to a no. You know, that's the path of getting closer to a yes. But my particular subject happened to be about it was called Afromaniac. And actually it's in a book. I have some published works out there. So that one was Afromaniac. And it kind of had its own mixed reviews. For the most part, people did enjoy it. But in the same hand, because of the subject matter, not everyone enjoys what it's about. So you
Yes.
have someone who's like, he's supposed to be a leader of a group, but then to come out, he's pretty much a phony. And so not everybody enjoyed what it was about in the end. But like you said, that doesn't mean that they don't like your writing. Sometimes the best writing is going to have, it's going to irritate you. You're going to be like, oh, I don't like that character. That character really does bother me. But it does mean that it means you're paying attention.
Yes.
It means
Yes.
that your style of writing did gravitate to them. It's just the factor being that, maybe that wasn't a subject that they like. But you're
Yes.
not going to get everyone to like your stuff.
Exactly. And they had an emotional response to it and they thought about it, and that's huge. I'm
It
gonna read
is.
your play. I'm on a theater board, and I want to read your play, and we're
Okay.
gonna do it.
Oh my goodness. That sounds so great. Thank you. I'm like all excited. Thank you. Oh goodness. So yeah, we'll connect after this.
Okay, good, good.
Thank you. But yeah, so that sounds great. Now I got to refocus. All right. So for our other viewers who are watching, now in your particular storyline, you have several different characters. We have
Yeah.
Gigi, we have Karen, Matt, Anthony, and of course we were talking about Mary and Jolene and Chantel, James. So with that being said, what would be your advice for people who may be starting off and they only have one or two characters?
That is that is fine. You can do a lot with two characters. I had a re a, a repeating story about two Puma girls, and they just loved Puma, and I carried that. I you can do a lot with just two characters, and you can do a lot with a small budget and two characters, or a small set, or a wall. It gives you
Sure.
an opportunity to be more creative the less you have.
Wow, I like that. I
That's what
like
my
that.
mom used to tell me when I wanted more toys as a kid.
I'm gonna use that with my children too. As right now, compliments of their grandmother, who's my mom, and my aunt. My mom's already on here. They only live for like their birthdays and Christmas. Oh, I want this. I want that. I want, see something on TV. I want this. And I'm like, there's so much more. And you already got so many toys already. The toys are taking up their own space. So yeah, I do. I like that. Because one of the key things with storyline and just being able to use our dial page the way that we do is understanding that you can create crafts. You don't, if you're able to, time wise, you don't have to buy everything, or feel depressed because you can't afford to buy something. Look around you, use the cardboard or whatever you have, and make and create what's going to be customized to your dolls and to your page. And then as you do it, and the more that you do it, you'll start to progress and grow. And then on top of that, you have wonderful people like yourself who show tutorials on this is how I did it. And then it helps us as well know how to do it. So you're not in it by yourself. If you don't, if you're not able to afford it, like I said, don't get depressed about it. Just grab a box or whatever you have around you and wrap it up and make it work. Make it into a bed, make it into a couch. So like you said, you can do a lot of creative things with the less that you have. You can really make it work.
Mm.
Now, when you have multiple characters, what would be your storyline advice on that?
Um, I would advise to really know who they are and know what they want, what's important to them, um, who, what kind of, see, it's funny you mentioned James because I had actually completely forgotten about her. Um, she's always in my Aunt Chantel's store, so I don't like forget about her when I go in there. But when I was away, I was like, oh yeah, James. She's a new character to me too, and um, she filled a gap that I needed to fill, and that's really when I introduce new characters that are new to me, is when I need someone to fill a role.
Okay. So not all characters are going to be your main character. Some of them, like
Yeah,
you said, is going to be filling that gap that you need right there. I mean, to a certain degree, even Chantel kind of fills a gap.
yeah,
But because Jolene and the other characters go shopping as often as they do need someone behind the counter. And then also it creates this break in your storyline that's, and it's able to give, some more substance to what you already have. So I enjoy it. and I'm sure our viewers enjoy it as well. So I do agree with you as far as like not all characters you're going to be able to really develop in the way that you want,
Yeah,
because
but like
they may not have as main of a role.
exactly, and developing them as much as you can is always great because that's what I really love about Shakespeare. And we were talking about Shakespeare the other day, is that,
Yes.
right, even the small, tiny little roles have so much character and are so fun. Even in like,
Yes.
there's no bad role if you're doing Shakespeare. They're all interesting. You can bring so much to every tiny little role.
Now, our conversation about Shakespeare had to do with Karen because you were saying that she's a frenemy,
Yes,
and
you
so
called
and
it
and
Iago.
yes, she does remind me so much of an Iago. Now I love. Now the thing is, let me back up. I got so excited. Iago's in the Othello play, so just in case anyone hasn't read Othello, you should. The movie's very good. I would say the best one. Of course, we have Laurence Olivier, and that one's pretty good. But I really like the one that Lawrence Fishburne did, as far as it being closer to what was in the play, and then also giving you a little bit of like an added dimension to Othello and his epilepsy. So, but of course, nothing ever beats a book, in my opinion, and nothing ever beats the original. So Iago is just very interesting because although he's really actually not present throughout the whole play, but the little bitty things that he did, the seeds that he sowed, the whisperings that he did, it's huge. It's major. And I really did see that with Karen when she does this, I'm texting my mom and she's actually texting Anthony. It just reminded me so much of Iago, because Iago is one of, as horrible as it sounds, he's one of my favorite characters.
Yes.
And he really is. And of course, when we look at Aladdin with the bird, that's where he gets his name from, because he has like that same kind of personality that Iago does. So in case anybody's like, I thought that was the bird's name. Yeah, that came from Shakespeare. and but you see, just like you said, with all of Shakespeare's plays, Merchant of Venice, I don't know why I just drew a blank. Of course, Romeo and Juliet, any of his stuff. Tell of what is it? Tell of A Midnight Summer's Dream. Any of it, he does. He does a very good job of layering his characters.
Yes.
None of his characters are one dimensional. I mean, even if you look at the guards in the play, they're only in there for a very short amount of time, but yet even who they are is important in how he manages to put them in. So I'm glad that was brought up, because just in case someone's wondering, how do I develop these characters on a stronger level, even if I'm not going to have them in there that long? Read a Shakespeare, even if it's just one. Read a Shakespeare, because he develops it so well, and he doesn't see any character as not being important.
Mm-hmm.
He really doesn't. And I'm glad that you did bring up James again. We both were talking about James, because then you talked about her, how agile that she was when she was going up and down, climbing on these shelves. So then it goes, well, what kind of background does she have? What makes her be able to do these things, and what's the story behind that? So I fully agree with you. So that's a huge tip. Read a Shakespeare if you haven't. Finish a Shakespeare if you haven't. You won't be disappointed. It's in a different kind of English style than what we're accustomed to, but it's so worth it. It is so worth opening yourself. If you've never read Shakespeare, it's so worth opening yourself to it, because it's only going to strengthen your characters. It really is. So I'm glad that was brought up. But yeah, Karen does remind me of an Iago. She really, even her using Matt to try to break up the two, because you see Iago use his wife as this whole catalyst for what he had brewing. So yeah, I like it. When you get me on Shakespeare, it's like getting me on Frida. Frida Kahlo and William Shakespeare are just my favorite. So I don't want to digress too much, but the motivation. What is your motivation for storyline? Because there's so many different things that we could be getting into as far as with fashion or anything else. So what is your motivation when you write story? Is it to put the story out there, or is it to grow your followers?
Oh, I, uh, I, I think it's like art. It's a way of expressing myself.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yes.
try I try and bring humor. Sometimes I forget to, but I try and bring humor to every post I make because even a dramatic post, even when you're at a funeral, there's always some humor. There's humor in everything. And I think the more humor something has, the more realistic it is to me.
I agree. I do. I agree. And that's actually something that I have sat down with myself on and said, I would like to bring more energy into putting more, comedic lines into my storyline as well. Because I agree with you, not everything is, there's already enough,
Yes.
stressful things. And especially if you have, drama intertwined into your storyline. It's always good to let people have that comedy relief.
Yes.
So I fully agree with you that comedy being brought into your post does make a difference, especially for those who are reading it. And, you know, laughter is the best medicine. So where do you get your storylines from?
Ah, okay. Sometimes I get I used to really be inspired by music, but lately sometimes it's just an event someone's throwing, or some like little thing I buy. Like if I buy a like a I recently bought some luggage I really wanted, and so I just made a story about how awesome the luggage was. And
I
with my
remember that post.
with the Puma girls, like these dolls are head to toe Puma. It's ridiculous. Who would dress like that? So the I think art asks the question of what if, and it asks questions. So I think that a lot of my stories revolve around who would wear this. Someone obsessed with Puma. So let's write a story about people being obsessed with Puma. Or I brought in those jars that I had for years since I saw The Mummy, and I was obsessed with that movie, so I bought all of the play sets. So now I have these little canopic jars, and so I brought them into my story, and
Hmm.
it just made a whole story about just those jars.
I do remember that because it was in the Enchantel shop as well.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
believe Mary was buying it, if
Yes,
I
she
remember right.
likes those jars.
Yes, yes, yes. So, and I like the Mummy. Was this the one with Brendan Fraser?
Yes.
Yes, that's still a favorite in the house. It is.
Right? Yes.
We saw the one with Tom Cruise, and it wasn't anything against Tom Cruise, but it was not. It was not the same. It was.
I didn't I didn't even see it. I was like, no, I'm loyal to the Brendan Fraser one.
Yeah, we like that one too. We like number one and number two. We like number three, but we had gotten attached to the wife. So when they changed her up, it was like it just wasn't the same. The
Yeah.
energy was different.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing beats the original. Nothing beats the original. That one was yeah. Yeah, now and I know they had like one in like 1952 or something of that nature, but we're talking about the ones when we were growing up. Right?
Yeah.
So, so we already talked about the difference between your two pages. And what I would like to leave off of before we do any questions and comments, you have an audition that you
Yes.
recently posted. Would you like to enlighten us about it?
I would. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah. I I've been wanting to do this for forever, and that is make a video series on YouTube with my dolls. It's really Jolene's story from the beginning, and I'm looking for voice actors. The commitment is really low because all you really have to do is, um, listen to me, give you, attend a few kind of rehearsals, and then record your voice just your voice. I don't even need your video. I don't need to know your entire name if you don't want to tell me. And just um, being a part of the story with your voice.
Okay. Okay. And
Yeah,
this is something that no matter what state or city or even possibly country that they live in,
yeah,
they can send it to you through, well, I'm thinking either through email or through the Instagram
yeah. We use
direct message.
Discord.
Is it okay? Discord, you did put that on there on
Yeah,
Discord. So,
there's a link.
okay. Okay. And then if you don't mind, I can share that on this video
Oh, that would be
as
great.
well so that,
Okay,
so then you get that promotion from both sides.
thank you.
So her last, not really your last, like second to last post,
Yeah,
she spoke about the audition. So regardless of how you may feel about your voice, if this is something that you've always wanted to do as far as being a voice actor, this is an opportunity to do that. So again, this is an audition for your YouTube channel where you're talking about the beginning of Jolene's story. And this is for the YouTube series. And we're going to put that information at the very bottom of this post when I publish it on our on Instagram. And then, of course, you can always go to Panic Pixie Doll's personal page. And she has that information on her post as well. So that was, like I said, probably about 2 posts ago. It was this week that you posted it. So I think it was like
yeah,
Tuesday
yeah.
or Wednesday. And you guys would see it on there. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you can post it right now. I'm looking there to see if anybody's saying them. We got a whole lot of absolutelys and hellos. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to respond at the time. Okay, so people are saying hi. And so we're just going to see if you guys have any comments or questions. But do know that no matter what your background is, of course, we've been talking about theater because we're both theater heads. But even if you yourself, if you're not, if you don't have a background with theater, this is still something that you can do. It's really about, just like you said, having fun with it,
Exactly.
having a passion. And then also, like we said, Shakespeare, being able to read other people who have developed their characters, because honestly, Shakespeare didn't have a degree in it, but but we all love him. So you don't have to have a degree in it, but if you do, use it. Use everything that's in you to be able to write those storylines the way that you want to. So if you have any questions or comments, you can send it through right now. Don't forget about the audition. I'm really looking forward to see how the series goes.
Thank you. I am excited too.
Yeah, my husband and I did some voice acting before, and
yeah,
and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I may have to submit something myself too.
awesome.
Yeah, my husband's cousin was doing a cartoon, Southwick Gang Adventures, and he was talking about their beginning as kids. And so I did the voice for Wee Wee, and my husband did a voice for, oh goodness, he has 2 of them, Buddha, and I can't remember the other guy that he did. So he did 2 voices on there as well. And we enjoyed it. We did it for a number, because it takes a while. This was years ago. So I was like pregnant with number 3, and I'm pregnant with number 10 right now. So this was a few years ago. So just the process of it was longer. Yeah, we're on number 10, but yeah, the process of it was longer, and he was trying to get it into like a syndicated TV show, and he had someone that was a network that was going to pick it up, but it wasn't the amount that he was wanting, and so forth, and so it didn't go any further than that. But it is still available on YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it was a nice experience, and we were able to take the kids to the studio and let them see what we were doing, and so yeah.
I thought they loved that going to the studio.
They did, and then they got a little wild at times because kids are kids. So yeah, they enjoyed it, but then when it got to be I guess too boring for them, and they wanted to play duck, duck, goose and stuff, and we had to get them to quiet down. And so, children, if it's not, if they're not directly involved, after a while, it's just not a really important thing to them. But for us, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and we did enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to being able to see how this goes for you. Like I said, I will have to see about maybe doing something as well because I did enjoy it.
Oh, good.
But yeah, but we're gonna have to definitely talk after this is done
Definitely.
about the plays and so forth.
Yes.
So yes. Well, if no one has anything, I'm gonna go ahead and end our live. I want to thank you again for number one, accepting my invite for the live and this being your first live. It's so great to put a face to to the amazing storyline that you have. And I'm just looking forward to how your story develops, how it keeps on developing as far as with Jolene right now. Because right now where we're at, if you guys have been following or if you haven't, Jolene has just went out with Karen. And of course, Karen has done her little snarky thing as far as contacting Anthony to really add more to the situation. Jolene already did the right thing by letting him know that she was going out to breakfast with Matt, the ex. And here it is, she comes in her to, try to add more, what would be like fuel to it as far as saying that it's more to the story. So that's just kind of like the cliffhanger to let you guys know what's going on. And we're just going to continue to stay posted on where things go for Jolene as she tries to, navigate this relationship because she's trying to keep things going strong with Anthony. And, we're rooting for her. We really are. So everything hopefully will go well with her. And I'm looking forward to seeing this beginning storyline as well.
Thank you.
I thank you too.
And thank you for having me.
Oh, goodness. We're going to be in touch. Like I said, I'm going to definitely talk to you after this as well.
Okay,
and we're going to see where things go. So I thank you guys for joining us today. You guys have a great Saturday. Thank your family as well for letting me have you for this long.
Okay.
I thank you again, and we will do this again.
Okay, that'll be fun. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.